everybody. Good morning, UTLA members, parents, community, and students. My name is Gloria Martinez. I'm your Vice President of Elementary Schools. And first off, I want to say thank you for everything that you are doing. Thank you for being so kind and generous during these times, being patient with your students, being patient with your families, but most importantly, being patient with yourself. So welcome to our weekly update. I just have a couple of things I want to say before we get into our agenda. I did want to say, and this will give a couple of minutes for people who are joining and getting the notification right now on their phones. I just want to say also a big thank you to our health and human service providers who have been bringing us the great series using the hashtag UTLA Wellness Wednesdays. Thank you. This Wednesday, there was a great show on, or a great demonstration of mindfulness, which I think I need to refer to a little bit more often and probably visit over the weekend. I know that we are all very stressed out during this time. I know this sounds cliche, but nobody could have predicted the circumstances that we are in. And I know what some of you are thinking. Some of you are thinking, well, I read sci-fi, and yes, this was predictable. But I don't think we thought this would be a reality. So once again, thank you for your patience. Thank you for going above and beyond for our students, for your parents, for our community. I'm hearing wonderful stories of schools coming together to make packages for families in need. I'm hearing of wonderful outpours of love and caravans. This week, we are continuing to see these beautiful parades and caravans of love and of community coming together. So thank you so much for all that you do. I know that making those signs takes time, right? I know that sometimes it's bittersweet because you see your students, you see your parents, and it makes you miss them more. But once again, what you are doing to maintain that bond between community, students, and our educators just really inspires me daily. I know it inspires all our officers as well. And we just want to say, keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing to feel as normal as possible. Keep doing what you're doing to, maintain that contact with our students. I know that that's not always easy, but again, thank you for going above and beyond. So with that said, I do want to give a shout out to the caravans that happened this week. These are just a few, so sorry if I miss you, but please put them up on Facebook, put them up, share them on your social media. I know I really enjoy seeing some of those from my friends. 28th Street, I know Sunrise had a caravan as well, Marquez Charter and Baldwin Hills. Thank you again for those wonderful visuals that we saw this week that really inspire us and just remind us that we're all in this together and we're all united in a very distinct way now more than ever. And speaking of united, we love those unity photos from Eshelman, Adams Middle School, and Serrania Elementary School. Remember on Tuesdays to continue wearing your UTLA red, especially or whatever day your staff meeting is, to show that unity, because that is really important for us to, again, stay connected, right? And so today what we're going to do is we have a very simple agenda, 3 items that we're going to be discussing today. One is we're going to discuss a little bit about the budget fight ahead of us so that we can all be on the same page on the magnitude of what we're facing. I'm going to be sharing a wonderful story out of Crenshaw High School. I can't promise that I won't get teary-eyed, but I do think that this is a story that needs to be highlighted and just is an example of our perseverance. And then I'm going to end with some updates on ending the school year and grading and a couple of other updates that I know our members have been asking for. So I'm going to head into what the landscape ahead of us looks like. And I don't need to tell you that it looks rather grim. If you watched Governor Newsom yesterday or heard his press conference, you know that there are budget cuts that are just inevitable. If you've been watching the news over the last 7 to 8 weeks, you also know that our federal government has made a choice. I'll say that again. Our federal government has made a choice to continue to bail out corporations at the cost of communities and workers, right? So all across America, it's the workers of America that are hurting the most. It's our vital resources like healthcare and education that are at peril. But corporations are the ones that are being bailed out. So, over the last few weeks, what we've seen is an increase in the wealth of the billionaires in our country and even across the world. But what we've seen are record levels of unemployment. What we've seen is an increased need to really rebuild our infrastructure around healthcare and education. But what we've also seen is the resilience of communities coming together to stand up for each other. And I don't know about you all, but I am, over the last 8 weeks, I am becoming increasingly more just real. I will never take for granted someone serving me coffee ever again. So I'm becoming more and more in tune at the services that were at my disposal because of my my privilege. I recognize that, but I realize that what our workers are doing right now to hold our communities up is just something that needs to be fought for and defended and valued more. So one of the things that we are facing is a deficit in our budget like no other. And many of you that are watching right now were in education in 2008. And those of you who are not in education, you also felt the economic pressures of 2008. The problem with 2008 is that right now we are even in a more severe situation, right? 55% of Angelenos are out of jobs. We are seeing unemployment rates that are just of epic proportions. And we know that we are headed into what could possibly be the Great Depression all over again. So now is the time for us to put pressure, right, on making sure that our federal government prioritizes the structures that we need versus prioritizing the needs of corporations and billionaires. So a couple of things. As I mentioned, over the last few weeks, we've learned and we are seeing staggering numbers of increase in wealth among billionaires. Approximately billionaires, their wealth has increased by $308 billion. And this number probably grew because this number was of earlier this week. And more importantly, we know this demonstrates that there is money. But what we need to do is to ensure that our federal government prioritizes that money to make sure that it goes into social services that our communities desperately need. Because as you know, because you're out there, these caravans are examples of it, you know that it's our communities that are hurting the most. Angelenos, again, when 55% of Angelenos are unemployed. Many of those are parents of our students. And many of those are immigrant communities, right, that we are so privileged to teach. So over the next few weeks, it's going to continue. You're going to be hearing these headlines. You're going to be reading reading the headlines as well. And that's part of the panic that we all feel, right? Which is why these Wellness Wednesdays are so important. And so one of the things that we talked about as we were heading into our strike is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. We call that FUD. So right now, many of us, because of these large astronomical numbers that we are facing a deficit, there's a lot of fear, right? And when there is fear, we tend to act out of uncertainty. And we also start doubting our power and our ability to organize, and whether is this fight really winnable. And the answer to that question is yes, this fight is winnable, because as we demonstrated during our strike, when we come together with community and when we come together as one, we can actually do many great things, like protect our class sizes, fight for nurses, and more importantly, change the narrative on privatization in California. So the answer is yes, this is winnable, but it's not going to be easy. And I think many of you, if I visited your schools leading up to the strike, you heard me say that, right? That this is possible, but it's not going to be easy. And what that win looks like is going to vary, right? What we do know is that we need to be systematic in our approach. And over the last 2 weeks, your chapter chairs have been attending UTLA area meetings, where we've been discussing more at length the budget deficit ahead of us. But we've also started, laying out what the plan to systematize and to organize our schools now more than ever, to ensure that the budgets that come out of the White House fool me. The old saying, fool me once, right? 08, we have to ensure and prepare that that's not going to happen again. All right. So I did want to say there's a couple of things that you're going to be able to do over the next couple of, actually, one of them should be today and over probably the next week or so. So I want to go over that. The first thing we want you to do is call your congressional representative and ask for their support for $1 trillion for state and local governments in the HEROES Act, and at least $175 billion for the Education Stabilization Fund. Okay, so again, vote on the new $1 trillion package that could come today. So we need you to call after this your rep, and I'm going to give you the number. It's 855-977-1770. And you'll be connected to your member of Congress. Once again, it's 855-977-1770. And you'll be connected to your member of Congress. Excuse me. Okay. And you notice the name of that, excuse me, is the HEROES Act. Okay. We need to, again, make sure that our nurses and our doctors and our hospitals are never found in this position again. Excuse me. And we need to ensure that our schools and community services are also protected during this time, because we know that this is typical of where the cuts are made. The second plan of action is going to be happening in the next week or so through a chapter chair meeting at your school's site. Your chapter chairs have been given some information on a petition that we are helping push along with 6 other locals across California. So this petition is a Classroom Over Cuts petition. And what we've done is together, these 7 locals, that includes us, commit together to the fight in California. So this is really exciting. So your chapter chair is going to have a meeting about this and explain the petition. It's really simple. It's 3 ask, right to the point. And then we're going to also remind you, chapter chairs, to reach out to substitutes that you guys that work at your school regularly. Please make sure that your nurses are involved, librarians, itinerants, all our health and human service providers that have a connection to Classrooms Over Cuts petition. The other locals joining us pushing this petition is San Francisco, Oakland, San Diego, Berkeley, Richmond, Bakersfield, and ourselves. So it's the 7 largest locals, education locals in California, which are coming together and making sure that we demonstrate a united front. And this is all part of the affiliate work that UTLA is involved in, and many of you are participating in as well. So thank you very much for your leadership on that. Please look out for that meeting. Chapter chairs, there's resources on our website, www.utla.net. And we know that there's also, and I know that there's also some emails going out to help you facilitate some of that. So thank you so much for that. Again, that's San Francisco, Oakland, San Diego, Berkeley, Richmond, Bakersfield, and Los Angeles. Sorry, Justin, I never introduced you, but thank you for thank you for keeping up. I know I was running through those names really fast. Justin Maurer, everybody. I know that you guys, he is a fan favorite. So now I want to talk a little bit about what is possible when we are systematic, when we are united, and when we focus on a common goal. So a few minutes ago, I was discussing this petition, right, which is going to make sure that we fight for the appropriate funding that our schools and communities deserve. But I also want to talk about like what that looks like, because right now, this is such a weird time for us that it's hard to envision what that fight looks like. You know, we definitely can't go out and strike right now, right? Because that would be a lot of people, and where we're not really properly socially distancing. But there are ways for us to fight back, and I just want to share about Crenshaw High School. This story, and I'm going to read some of it because I don't want to miss any of the information. But the Crenshaw community rallied behind their band and choir programs. So during this time, a lot of the matrix selection has been occurring at school sites all across the city. And so, you know, unbeknownst to them, when the matrix was displayed, they found that there were 2 positions missing, that of Mr. Al Tarver and that of Miss Iris Stevenson, the band and choir teachers, respectively. And so the faculty started pushing back, started asking, and it seems that somehow these 2 positions were going to be eliminated. Again, no discussion amongst the community, no discussion with the staff. And so some of the things that were amazing that happened were they started organizing virtually, right? So they found their voice, they reached out to community and alumni, and rather quickly formed an 800 member group on Facebook, right? 800 members over just a couple of days. And this was really cool. When they had their staff meeting, everybody on the staff changed their name. So, you know, like on Zoom, how you can read your name, you can type in your name. Everyone typed in the same message, save the music program. And so we know that music is something that, you know, art in general is so vital to the well-being of our students and the overall development of our children. And we know how precious these art programs are to many of the communities throughout Los Angeles. For many people, they have their fondest memories participating in programs led by Mr. Tarver and Ms. Stevenson. And, you know, it seems like an elective, but for many students, art is how they feel at home, right? And so this demonstration of community coming together to save this wonderful music program at Crenshaw High School, or 2 wonderful music programs at Crenshaw High School, shows that we can still organize virtually. We can still come together and fight for what we believe in. And so I want to just give this shout out to Crenshaw High School. What a great way to show virtual organizing. What a great way to utilize your chapter meetings to connect with community, connect with alumni. And you know, this is a kind of fight that we need to own. And Crenshaw, we thank you for your leadership and for owning that fight and really leading on that and coming out victorious. So thank you for that inspiration. I know that I and many others are just in awe of what you were able to do in such a short amount of time. So thank you so much and welcome back, Mr. Tarver and Ms. Stevenson. It's like you were never gone. So congratulations, Crenshaw High School. Again, and you know, these are programs like the ones at Crenshaw High School. This is going to be what we're going to be facing, right? If we don't stand up for a budget that is reflective of the needs of our community. Again, you know, if there's money to bail out corporations, there has to be money to save and to protect community services, such as education, such as healthcare for our most vulnerable students as well, and most vulnerable communities as well. So the last thing I want to quickly go over, because I know many of you have a busy day ahead of you, is I want to go over a couple of school site issues. And just to let you know, a lot of these resources are found on our website, utla.net. But I did want to start off with, again, we had our second area meeting this week, our second area virtual meeting this week, and there was a lot of buzz about like returning back to school, because again, we're hearing these things, you know, we are watching the news, hearing, you know, the radio, reading the newspapers about going back to school. And I just want to say that your bargaining team and UTLA is very much committed to ensuring that whatever that looks like, it's under the pretense of safety first. Okay, we will not be forced into a premature opening without ensuring that the safety and well-being of our students and our members is in place. So we will be negotiating the terms for a safe return. I am a member of your bargaining team, and your bargaining team is currently looking into ways to get member input. We're 34,000 strong, and in this remote setting, it's a little bit challenging to engage with 34,000 members, but we are looking ways into making sure that happens. Your chapter meetings, of course, are a great way for you to let your chapter leaders know, because we are in communication with them. They're in communication with their area leadership, who's in communication with us. And of course, the officers are just a phone call or an email or a text away. So again, we're not going to allow anyone to force anybody back under unsafe conditions. We need to make sure that the health and well-being of our students and our members is first and foremost under anything that we negotiate. Okay. That being said, I know that many of you, some of my own friends, are really looking forward to going back, because again, that interaction, that bond with students is something that is terribly missed. And we also know that parents, in our conversations with parents, we know that our students are missing us. So it's going to be a fine balance we will have navigate through, and through our affiliates CTA and CFT, we will definitely find out and develop a plan that works and protects our communities and our members. So I do want to say that this week you received an email, I think it was our chapter chair talking points, that mentioned the elementary grading procedure. At the time of that publishing, we did not have the document with us, but now it's on our website, again, utla.net. We have linked the new policy on elementary grading. Next week, early next week, the schools will be receiving, your principal will be receiving a the memo on end of year protocols, which includes handling the cumulative records. It includes, returning keys, how we're going to do the last report period, a report progress report, and closing out our classrooms. So those protocols are going to be delineated in this memo that should be in schools by Monday. We have asked the district that memo be circulated to all members, not just principals. However, if you do not receive it, chapter chairs and any member, please ask your principal for a copy. We will have it up on our website once we receive it. And this would be a great time, again, when you hold that chapter meeting for the petition, to go over some of the protocols, because there will be some areas where we will need to, make arrangements and schedules for folks who feel like it's okay for them to go back and take care of some of those items. All right. So again, make sure that you look out for that, start asking for that early in the week. And then one last thing is, remember, our FAQs are coming out every week, and they're on our website. So if you read it somewhere because you've received an email, all our FAQs are on our website. You can go back and keep that document on your desktop, or check the answer so that you are in the know. One of the things that, again, defeats the fear, uncertainty, and doubt is facts and confidence. So we want to provide you with as many facts so that you are confident in this struggle, so that we can, eliminate the oxygen and reject any idea or any proposal that includes social systems that our communities need. This pandemic is creating a gap among the wealthiest and the neediest like no other. We are the educators that educate the students of these parents, of these communities. We know that these cuts hurt our communities like no other. Our communities that we serve take the brunt of it. And, again, 2008, let's prepare for that like no other fight. Let's not allow 2008 to be a repeat. 2020 has been hard enough. But I do know that when we are systematic in our approach, I do know that when we are united, and I do know that when we are connected with community, that we can do wonderful things. So thank you, UTLA members, for your leadership. Have a wonderful weekend. Please visit those videos on Wellness Wednesdays. Please check in with yourselves. Be patient with your children. Be patient with your students, and be patient with yourself. We are all in this together. I almost wish this was a Zoom call, because I would love to see some of you that I haven't seen in so long. So thank you. Have a wonderful Friday, and I wish you a very restful weekend. Thank you.